Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. Here I am with you in the middle of the week. In fact, it's the 1st of December. It's the beginning of another month. And as perhaps you've heard, Christmas is coming. I hope you're ready or getting ready. This morning, I'd like to share a passage in our continuing talk about the book of Isaiah from the 41st chapter, beginning with verse 8. Here's what Isaiah says. But as for you, Israel, my servant, Jacob, my chosen one, descended from Abraham, my friend, I have called you back from the ends of the earth, saying, you are my servant. For I have chosen you, and will not throw you away. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. This passage is written to the nation of Israel a long, long time ago. It was a time when Israel's enemies were very close and about to do them harm. It was a time when people were concerned about their future, maybe even about tomorrow. It was a time when people began to question, is God really still here? Well, this passage indicates an answer from God. I like the very first part of this. But for you, Israel, my servant, Jacob, my chosen one, descendants from Abraham, my friend. Here's God talking about Abraham as his friend. Now, Abraham wasn't perfect. It's true, he became the father of all this bunch. But he was in many ways just like you and me, except he was determined to follow God in his life. And for that sake, God says he's his friend. You ever think of yourself as a friend of God or God's friend? You know, it's one thing for God to be my friend. It's another thing for me to be God's friend. It implies a relationship, a closeness that's more than just an occasional visitor type thing. Friends are people you can count on. Friends are people that will stand with you. Friends are those who will support you when you're in need and travel the journey along with you, regardless of whether it's a great journey or a journey of great struggle. And here God says that Abraham was his friend. Now he goes on to say, I'll come back to this in a minute. I've called you back from the ends of the earth, saying, you are my servant. For I've chosen you, will not throw you away. Again, he's speaking to the nation of Israel many, 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 many years ago. But he's also speaking to you and me. Because his promises, we know through history, went from just to the nation of Israel, through Jesus to all people. Whatever our background, whatever our socioeconomic status, whatever our educational status, wherever we're born, whoever we are associated with, God's still speaking to us. And he says here He wants to be your friend. Now, as I said, friends do all these wonderful things, but God goes specifically here. And he said, I've chosen you, and I'm not going to throw you away. Whatever happens, God is not going to throw you away. However, your struggles, God's not going to forget about you. He's not going to act like you never existed. And he goes on to say specifically here in verse 10, three things. Well, yeah, three things. One, do not be afraid. How many times does God say that in the Bible? And Jesus as well. Do not be afraid. Fear is a killer. It wipes out every opportunity to do something good. Fear paralyzes you, and it keeps you from walking forward where God wants you to go. There's a lot of fear in this world. Might be a lot of fear in you. I talk to people every day who are afraid of this or that, and given the time and the pandemic that we're still dealing with, people are still afraid. God doesn't want us to be afraid. He wants us to be smart, but he doesn't want us to be afraid because he's with us. It's not that we're so wonderful we can do everything ourselves, but we don't have to be afraid because he's right there. And he says, don't be discouraged. Discouraged is probably a little less powerful emotion than fear, but it has the same effects. It keeps you from doing good things. Why bother? I would go do this, but what's the point? Nothing's going to come out of it. Well, maybe nothing you can see, but you're not the one who's making the final judgment here. Don't be discouraged. Don't be afraid, number one. Number two, don't be discouraged. And number three, I will strengthen you and help you. You see, not only does God say, don't, he says, do. Do trust him. Do understand that he will help us. He will help you. The words spoken to Isaiah back many, many years ago are words that God still speaks to you and to me today. So I hope that wherever you are in your life's journey, number one, that you're not afraid. And number two, that you're not discouraged. And number three, that you understand that God will strengthen you. Well, thanks for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. If you have a need or a concern that we can help with, please let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet that need. So until next time, God bless you. I'll talk to you again.